So let's talk about you for a second and this evolution from AU to CSR leader and how that kind of happened, because most of the students at the School of International Service go on to work for nonprofits or government roles, which is wonderful too. Can you talk a little bit about what you learned during your time here that you then apply within the corporate sector, what was useful to you, and if that had any influence on your choice of careers, or how that kind of evolved?
So in working at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for 7 years, I really felt like I understood and I really resonated with the private sector approach to development, right? So, but what I realized, and this was something that actually I really realized when I was in Rwanda, that you have to be able to speak to all, if you want to work in social enterprise, you have to be able to speak business language, you have to be able to speak government language, and you need to be able to speak nonprofit language. And they're very, very, I mean, it's English obviously, but like there are very different ways that you engage in the way that you, and the verbiage that you're using and the priorities that those particular sectors have. And so I definitely always felt like at AU that like being in the School of International Service, that I was a little bit of an odd duck. Like that there weren't a lot of folks in my classes that had the same background as me. And I actually used to always get like really nervous when I would go up to present because, it challenged me in a way that I wasn't getting challenged at work. Like I wasn't actually, people weren't asking me the types of questions that I would get when I would give a presentation at this, being in graduate school here. It was a lot less numbers, and it was a lot more, which was good for me because that's where I had my background. And it was much more about, obviously, policy. It was about best practice in terms of community development, whether you're working with women or, I actually loved, my favorite class that I took was a class that I took on conflict resolution in the Middle East. And it taught me a lot about the importance of listening. And that was something that we learn a lot about in the social enterprise program, but it was really helpful for me to hear from a practitioner and a leader in the conflict resolution space about how much listening he does. And that really resonated with me. And I think a lot about that when I think about kind of like how I'm showing up at work, which isn't in the same type of context that he is, but I can take kind of like those types of learnings and apply them to my kind of day-to-day. And so that's been something that was really helpful for me. And what the program provided me was just a different type of environment, a different type of culture, a different type of constituency than what I had at Kate Spade, right? Very, very different. I think the other part that was really helpful, I mean, we actually ended up hiring a consultancy company that is comprised of 4 graduate students that are alumni of the social enterprise program. They formed a company called Strategic Good, and they are Kate Spade's social impact and measurement and evaluation partner. Actually, Andreas, who graduated from the social enterprise program 1 year behind me, he's in Rwanda on his way there right now, and he does work for us at the factory. And I think that that's one thing too that's like super cool, like to be able to do, because you're in this graduate program. And for me, it was, I don't think I was the most involved. I was working at the same time that I was going to graduate school. I was traveling at the same time that I was going to graduate school. And so, I didn't have the full experience of being, in grad school and have that like, full on experience of being able to live and breathe it for pretty solidly for 2 years. But what I did make were really strong connections with like-minded people that thought like I did. And I love being able to bring those types of people into the work environment that I'm in now. Like it's so incredibly helpful to have not just a community, but to have partners that, can challenge you, that can help you to think more creatively or more strategically about things that you probably would have made a really quick decision on otherwise if you weren't having those types of conversations. And the program definitely created that community for me, and actually ended up bringing one of our lead consultants. It was their practicum project, actually. They started Strategic Good as a practicum project. They then took it, made a company, and then we now consult them on a yearly basis.
Interesting.
Yeah.